Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mavens of Motivation, Monday Motivation. And you know what? It's not always about motivation that we talk about but motivation impacts everything. So right now, are you, like one of our questions is today is that, are you motivated to have a forgiving heart? So today we are going to be talking about having a forgiving heart. I'm one of your hosts here, ABarbaraEllison, and I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. So I am the founder of the Wellness Playroom, because wellness is not just about not being sick. It's about impacting every area of your life, your health, your wealth, and your abundance and your happiness. So welcome to the Wellness Playroom. We're going to be talking about that a little bit too. Anyways, and I just want to introduce you to my co-host, my bestest friend here, Carol Henderson.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody brought their coffee cup or teacup or whatever it is you're drinking.
I'm a non-hot drinker. We've talked about that.
But
I have my nutrition shake.
I love warm drinks. And especially I come to you these days in my basement. And so it's just it's a large basement, but we don't keep it heated and stuff unless we're down here. And there's just the two of us, so we're not down here much unless I'm on a show. So I drink warm things on most shows because it gets a little chilly in the basement. The average temperature down here is about 65. So,
You need to get one of those little space heaters.
Oh, I do. And I turn it on when I come down. And I have heat down here. I just don't spend the utilities to keep it, at 68, 70 degrees all day, every day. So, but unless it's over 100 outside, it's pretty much 65 down here. In the summer, when we start hitting day after day of 100 plus degrees, it gets warmer, but it's because the dirt gets warmer outside in the summer. So
see, little did we know. See?
Yeah. Well, we do have a homestead and we do have chickens and a peacock and bees and all kinds of wildlife. So, and wild vegetation too.
Yes. So
it's fun.
Let's talk about having a forgiving heart.
Okay. Well, and I forgot to tell you, I have Life by Design. I forget that.
Oh, that's right.
Don't I? I have Life by Design, and I help you to design your life so that you can look better, live better, and feel better. And there is so much going on in that area right now in business for both of us. You can see her text SHINE to 855-476-4845. And mine is text wellness to that same number, wellness, and you'll get to see the plethora of things that I have up there because there's so many different things that both of us have on our card. Those are our business cards and they're fun, and you can kind of get to see a little bit more of what we have and what we do and areas that we excel in. And so that's one of the things that I want to say, but also I want to give us a little shameless plug. We have a body reboot challenge starting this morning, April 4th. It's on Facebook. You can go to the Body Reboot Challenge, I think is the page that it is. I will definitely look. And it's on, I know it's on my card. I don't know if it's on Barbara's, but it is on my card, the wellness to that number. And you can go in and get in. It's a free event. We work with you. We help you to know all the ways that you can do better. And there's some posts in there. Go back a ways and read them. But we're both doing it. And it's going to, we're going to be different people in 19 days. It's a 19-day challenge. And it's fun and it's easy. And we'll be doing that with you. So I definitely want to invite everybody to join us on the Body Reboot Challenge.
Right. Get you ready for summer, which is what our, which was our spring into summer and sizzle
Yeah.
event, which was marvelous. If you missed it, let us know and we can.
Yeah. Well, and we are going to be doing it again at the end of this month.
Again.
Yeah, we'll be doing it again. So watch for those links. Because it is a paid workshop, and we won't shy away from that. We've got 3 excellent teachers and a phenomenal host that moderated everything, and so that's fun. It was fun. We're going to love doing it again. We're excited. So
yeah, just all the fun things. So and so let's talk about today the art of forgiveness. And I truly believe in many, many ways, it really is an art. Mm-hmm. Because we have to give whether we're forgiving ourselves. And that's of time. The biggest one. That's the biggest thing. And one of my things is that, I'm a personality science trainer. And that's one of the things that when I'm working with somebody on their personality things and, dealing with other people and how personality impacts that, it's quit beating yourself up for the things that you're not and celebrate the things that you are. And women, I think, are especially kind of guilty of this, that we do tend to beat ourselves up. Yes. And it's and we compare ourselves and we go into all sorts of other things about why we are not good enough. We don't deserve the things that we say we're going for. And yet subconsciously in the back of our mind, we're kind of doing one of those, well, who am I to go after something like that? True. And that is, and you know what? And one of the things, and I think Carol will attest to this too, we're not talking to you about anything that we have not dealt with ourselves. Amen. We have walked the walk and we have talked the talk and we are walking the walk. And for self-forgiveness is one of the biggest. Women especially can be so gracious and kind and loving and giving to other people, and then turn around and be total not nice people to themselves. We could almost use the B word here of how badly we treat ourselves, how badly we beat ourselves up. I didn't get the clothes done, or my house is dirty, or I ate that chocolate bar. Well, it's okay. Forgive yourself, go on. And we have a friend that has the best saying. And she says, if you fall down, get up fast. And don't fall down 2 times. Yeah. In a row. In a day. And because we all have things that happen to us. Yes. And you think, what was I thinking? And realizing it right at that moment, you weren't. Really? That's so true. That is so true. You weren't thinking. Either you've said something or you have done something. How could I have possibly done that? But just for that split second, one day I totally forgot that I had told somebody that I would work for them. The boss called and said, "Where are you?" Thankfully, you live close. Luckily, I live close. Mm-hmm. And, and just some of the things I look back on, like we just interviewed a lady that, she has had an absolutely amazing life. But even some of the things that she has said that she learned over her lifetime, that she really had to get down and dirty with herself and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I blew it. Yes. Or how about if you're in a situation and
there's stressors around. People are talking to you on this side. Kids are talking to you on this side. You know, you've got to be here and get something done. And all of a sudden you just kind of lash out and possibly use an unkind word or unkind tone. And then you're going, oh Lord, I'm sorry. And you start beating yourself up for it. You know, we're like tubes of toothpaste. And there are times that God will allow things to come into our lives. He does not cause calamity. He does not cause any kind of horrid thing to come on you to teach you a lesson. I want to make that very clear now. We serve a good God. And he, you know, when he is absolutely good, therefore there can be no evil in him. However, by our own choosing, sometimes, you know, he's like this beautiful umbrella. And sometimes by our own choosing, we kind of stick our little honey bone out in the rain. Okay. And if you get your honey bone out in the rain, it's going to get wet. And
I love that honey bone.
That's what we called it when the kids were little.
Just
I raised 4 boys and I didn't need them using some of the other words boys use. So when they were little, we called it a honey bone. But anyway, that brings back so many fond memories for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's our own thing that gets us out in trouble, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But we're like a tube of toothpaste. And sometimes our honey bones are hanging out and that tube of toothpaste gets squirted and we may not like what's coming out. So think about it. Do you like what's coming out of your tube of toothpaste? Coming out of your mouth? Your mouth is so important. Yeah. You build your life tomorrow by what you say today.
Right.
And if you go to church and go, oh, hallelujah, things are great, it's wonderful. And then you go home and you're having the pastor for lunch, not that you're feeding him, or talking about somebody that did you badly, or you're saying, oh, I'm healed. And then the next day you're going, oh God, I hurt. Boy, my disease, you know, how many of y'all call it my this, you know, my diabetes, my high blood pressure, my obesity, whatever. It's not yours. It is if you claim it, but you don't have to claim it. You can say, I've been diagnosed with diabetes, but I'm fighting lifetime. It. Yeah, I'm fighting it. So it's not that you can't talk about it. It's not that you're lying to yourself. It's not that you're ignoring the fact, but are you bringing it in and having it for supper, or are you fighting it at the door saying, no, you cannot be here? You know, and if it's already in the door saying you're getting out and speaking truth. Nourishing your body the way you should to get rid. I mean, we have friends, both of us have friends that the different protocols we have used with them have gotten their diabetes numbers down, their blood pressure numbers down. And I'm not making medical claims, but I've watched it happen. It's totally anecdotal, but it's backed up by doctors doing the tests. And so that's huge. And, you know, I don't want to do anything to step on medical toes. We love doctors. We work with doctors on a regular basis. However, the US especially is very versed in emergency care, and there's none like it. But as far as health care, it's a wellness care. I'm sorry,
it's sick care. I always call it
sick care. Yeah.
Because they're promoting sickness.
Yeah. And you know, and constant pills that if you read the lists of things that are on the back of the label or on the cautions, the legal disclaimers, you know, it's like, ooh, half the things you would never get close to. And like I said, I'm not belittling the healthcare, but how many people have had a side effect from drinking dandelion tea? It's amazing. It's amazing what it does. And there's so many other things out there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I'll get off that little soapbox.
Yes. And we went down one of our normal rabbit trails.
Yeah.
How did we,
if you're watching us, you're used to that.
Exactly. Exactly. But anyway, so back to forgiveness, which is where we start, which is kind of where we started today. Just forgive yourself. So the question arises, of course, is why bother? And so often, one of the things that so many people, they just view forgiveness as something that helps the other person. And, and it really can, but what if they don't forgive? What if they don't accept that for your forgiveness? The forgiveness benefits you. It's not about the other person, because unforgiveness, I love this saying, unforgiveness is like having somebody else, you drink poison expecting somebody else to die.
Amen. Yep.
That's exactly what happens.
And half the time they don't know they offended you. They do not know that you have an unforgiveness. Just all of a sudden you quit calling them and they wonder what happened and what, and of course they'd be going, what did I do? Or are they okay? I mean, there's so many things
and there's
they
so
don't
many
even
instances.
know.
A friend of mine right now, her brother will not talk to her. She has no idea why. And she has gone to him and said, look at, what's happened? Well, no, I don't. She has no idea. And yet in his mind, it was such a horrendous offense that he has held on to it. It has been going on now for a year or so. And he won't tell her, and she has no idea.
Well, okay, I'm going to bring something else up.
Right. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What do you do in that case?
Yeah. Well, okay, but let's take it a little further.
Right.
We all know that God will convict us of our sins. I mean,
exactly.
It's a given fact. God will say, you shouldn't do that. Just like a kind, loving father would say that. But if you're hearing, oh, you shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done what? You know what you did. That's the accuser. The accuser of the brethren is what he's called. Right. And he accuses you, but he never gives you. And I'm talking about the devil. Okay, let's make that real clear. That's the devil. He never makes it clear what you did. God will say, you shouldn't have done such and such. You need to not do that again.
Right. And or repent of it, ask forgiveness for it. Like there have been times where I have said something and it was like, whoa, Barbara, you have to go and apologize.
Right.
What? Why do I have to?
Yeah. Those are the hard ones.
Why do I have to go and apologize when he started it? Yeah. And you go and Barbara, you go and apologize.
Mm-hmm. And
so if that's grace. The case, we'll do it.
Yeah. If it's you that's being offended, forgive them. You don't always have to go to somebody and say, I forgave you.
Right.
I heard a story the other day. It was a friend of mine, and somebody at her class reunion walked up and said to her husband, his wife had died and he's remarried. And somebody else had walked up to him and said, I need you to forgive me. And he's going, what for? And basically he shared what he and the previous wife had been involved in. She's dead and gone. Mm-hmm. The husband had no idea. And somebody came up and said that. Now there's no need for that. Right. There is no need for that. So I'm not saying you go to everybody and ask for forgiveness. It depends on the situation, and God will tell you. He will tell you. Right. But
it'll be a conviction. It'll just be a knowing in your knower.
Yeah. But it's not just because you hear a teaching on forgiveness doesn't mean you run out and tell all you know, because that's not always the best for everyone involved. And so, this is something he had to get over, and she's gone. And yes, you can forgive people that are dead because they are not dead. they're just in another place. But you still need to forgive someone even though they're not here. Because another analogy is like they're in a jail cell and you're having to stand there and guard that jail cell. And if
Right.
they got forgiveness from God, they're not even in there, but you're guarding an empty cell.
Right.
Now, how
Okay.
fruitless is that?
Right.
So,
Right.
be kind in your forgiveness and unforgiveness.
Right.
Mercy. Give mercy. That's the big
Right.
thing.
And we all want grace.
Yes.
And because the thing is that when we holding on to resentment, it can just absolutely sour you.
Yes. Yes. And it
And
turns
it'll
into a root of bitterness.
right. And it'll keep you from having a peaceful life, of being happy.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I'm reading a book right now, and it's all about happiness. And it's actually, this part of the book that I'm reading is based on Anne Frank's diary.
Mm.
And where she talks about, that was tough. They were in hiding for what?
Oh,
2
over a
years?
year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, almost 2 years that
Yeah.
they were in hiding. 7 people, and they're talking about the fact that there were 3 dresses between 2 girls. They had 3 dresses between the 2 of them.
And they were all like in one little room with maybe a couple of little closets.
A couple of them were
Like the
closets.
girls stayed like in a closet to have
In a
some
closet.
privacy.
We have no concept.
Mm-mm.
And yet she chose every day to be happy,
Yes.
to have a grateful heart, to start every day with a smile.
Mhm.
That's what forgiveness can do for you.
Mhm.
It can reduce if you're feeling depressed about something.
Mhm.
Forgive the situation. And I'm going to tell you one of the things from my own personal. I had to forgive my husband for dying.
Mhm.
And that
That's a
took
big
me
one.
years. Took me years. And it wasn't until I was at an event and somebody else was talking about of having to do that. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
because sometimes you don't know you're holding on to something
Yeah.
until somebody else points it out.
Mhm.
And in that moment, during this event, this other person was talking about that she had to forgive her husband. And it was like a light bulb went on that I was still angry with David for the fact that he died,
Mhm.
because that just took all of my dreams of the future. He took them with him.
Mhm. And there's also an abandonment to it that,
And
you thought
abandonment.
you were going to live life with him.
I thought we were going to dance at our great-great-grandchildren's weddings when we were 95.
Well,
And
and on the
100.
other hand, it doesn't even take a death. My
No.
husband was very ill. He broke his back when he was just 39. And so
Yeah.
that took us down this multi-decade road of him having to have heavy drugs and not being able to do things. And
Yeah.
there's an abandonment even in that. Your husband that had planned to take care of you, and you felt like and you've got young children at home, and
Yeah.
there's an abandonment to that, and there's a forgiveness that, and he didn't ask for it.
No.
And in the past, when we've been telling our testimony at events, one time this girl popped up, and I had kind of shared a little bit of our story, and she's go, "Why didn't you divorce him?" And I'm like, I said, "Till death do us part," and he didn't die. And I would not have wanted to divorce him. I cannot think of anybody I would prefer over him. And he is my soulmate. And I was really quite taken aback that somebody would say that just because he was hurt, that I should abandon him.
Right.
And instead we walked together through it as a family.
Right.
And every day wasn't just peachy keen.
Right. Because there's so many other parts of it. Like with me, I had to mourn the intimacy that I had with
Yeah.
David and the life that I expected to live with him and the plans that we had made. And
Mhm.
so when he died, and I think I was angry in some ways, because he didn't go to the doctor. Well, you must have, why didn't you realize that something was wrong? And then you have to forgive yourself for not insisting. And it's like, oh, but it's just a whole big, and when you let it, it can impact everything. It
Mhm.
can impact your mental health.
Yes.
It can
Very much.
add stress and hostility. It can raise your blood pressure.
And it comes
All
out
of
in
it,
all of your relationships.
every
You've seen
relationship.
people, and I love looking at older faces and to see, do they have happy lines or angry
Yeah,
lines or
yeah,
mean lines? I mean,
yeah,
stop and think. Some people just look mean. And when you
yeah,
meet them, it turns out they probably had a mean streak. If they don't now, they probably did when they were most
yeah,
of their life. But you
yeah.
see these older women, and they just have these happy smile and,
Exactly.
deep creases of happiness. And they have just a joy and a,
Mhm.
a very compelling look in their eyes.
Mhm.
And,
It's like a twinkle. They have a
yeah,
twinkle,
yes,
like when you are a
a
person of
spark.
forgiveness, there's a spark or a twinkle. Um,
And we know where
you,
that spark came from.
yeah, and it just gives you a lighter heart
Mhm. Yeah.
and it is like people talk about it that it's a burden to have if you're not forgiving, and especially to yourself, you are feeling burdened down. That's where, and I truly believe that part of that is where overwhelm comes from and getting stuck comes from,
Mhm.
because we're so stuck in what's happened. We're not forgiving ourselves for either making a mistake or, heaven forbid, we fail at something. A friend of mine, a friend of ours, she had scheduled an event, and it just through circumstances, nobody signed up for it. She just said, oh well, wasn't the right time. That was it.
Mhm.
End of story.
Yeah.
If she had held on to that, oh, what did I do wrong? Why didn't this? All of the why, what? All of those things
Mhm.
that can become an emotional wound.
Yeah. Well, and you can take it personally. Oh,
And
they
you
didn't
take
come
it.
on because they didn't like me.
Yeah.
No, they were busy. They may not have had the money for the event.
Yeah.
They, any number of things. They may not have seen the event in time, or
Right.
we had an event recently, and I just had a friend reach out night before last and say, when is your event? And I said, oh, we already had it. And she goes, oh, I got so busy. When are you
Yeah.
doing it again? And so
Yeah.
she's coming next time.
Yeah.
And
And
that,
I had a friend of mine that did that exactly the same thing. She
yeah.
said, oh, Barb, and it was like, oh, hey,
And how many
life
times have
happens.
we forgotten something? How many times have you forgotten to you sign up for a webinar and you miss it? Or
Oh,
you
yeah.
tell somebody, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go to coffee. And then they call you and go, where are you? Or like me the other day, last week. Yeah, it was last week, I think, that I showed up at the wrong address. I mean, the wrong restaurant. It was my
Mhm.
best friend from high school. We have met a couple of times
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember that.
at
Yes.
Cracker Barrel. Yeah. And I showed up, pull in. I'm going, okay, are you here yet? She goes, well, yeah, I am. I'm inside. I'm going, okay, I don't see your car. And I had walked in looking for her. And she goes, and as I was walking back out, I thought, oh, we were supposed to be at another place about 4 or 5 miles away. So anyway, but she forgave me. We went on, we laughed. I
Yeah,
forgave
right.
myself for it. And I
Right.
could have beat myself up for it, beat myself up for that lack of
Mhm.
time that we got to spend
Mhm.
together, or
Yeah.
how stupid can you be?
Right.
No, it was what it was.
Yeah, I know one time, and and sometimes, like with me, a similar thing happened with my sister. I was in Montreal visiting, and when we did with my dad, okay, my dad, you did things on his timetable, not on your timetable. You did things on his timetable. And so I had picked him up. We went out for breakfast. We were sitting waiting for my other sister. She texts me, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm sitting in the restaurant waiting for you. Where are you?" She said, "Well, no, where are you? You're late." And I'm like, and I had a choice right at that second. I could have said something mean, or all I said was, "You know what? Well, I look at it this way. I have dad. I'm in the right place at the right time because I have dad." Because everything was on his timetable. She went, "Oh, oh, yeah, right. Okay, hold on. I'll see you in 10." I was like, she had totally
I
gone
love
to it.
that line. I have dad. I've
I
got
have
the
dad.
ace in the hole here.
So this was, and so when she walked in, we just totally laughed about it. But because I had to forgive her right at that moment, because it was like, it was just the way she came, the way the message came across.
And that could have caused a big rift between y'all.
And that could have caused a rift.
Y'all could
And
have
it was just
allowed
like,
that.
I have dad. So I know that I'm in the right place at the right time. And then after that, I mean, we laughed about that quite often. It was like, "Oh yeah, remember? Yeah, because I had dad." So it was like, and it was just and it became a funny thing. It became a funny thing. And so, and then you can, because once you have forgiven either the offense or the word or the action, whatever the circumstance, once you have forgiven it, then it becomes a story to tell your grandchildren.
Mhm. Yes.
Remember the time. And
And
then it
there's
becomes,
that old adage of you can't have a testimony if you don't have a test.
if you
And
don't
make
have
your mess your message. And that's kind of what we do on this show. We
Right.
we are pretty open about our messes,
Yeah.
but we help you to turn how to turn lemons into lemonade.
Right.
And that's
Turn it-
basically, I mean, so many different sayings that we grew up with
Right.
that, I don't hear a lot anymore. People don't believe in making their mess a message or turning lemons into lemonades. I don't think the new generation, many of them have heard that. It's like, no, I don't care if you have dad. I'm where I am and you get over here.
Right.
Doesn't matter
And-
what dad wants.
Right. Yeah, but like he was in his 90s when it happened. So it was kind of like, I have
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah. Well,
And,
that's
and,
cool.
and we laughed about it, and that was fine. The thing is when you don't do that, it hurts you. It all comes back to, it just hurts yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And the thing is, it can show up. It might not show up next week, next year. Sometimes it can show up 5 years. And I'm going to tell on myself. Recently, just a few weeks ago, I was doing a meditation, a deep meditation. And one of the things that I had to forgive my mom from when I was maybe 12 or 13. And I remember an instant, and it wasn't that I just felt that she chose my sister over me. And it wasn't that she did that, but that was my perception as a kid. And I know that I held that against her for so long, and it was still bothering me. I am 71 years old. And it just came up, and I realized I had never forgiven my mom for that. And it wasn't that I needed to forgive my mother. I needed to just get in touch with that. This was a child, that I was the child, and that I had to forgive myself for feeling that way about my mom.
And forgive yourself for the offense.
And forgive for that feeling, and for perpetuating it for all of these 60 years.
Well, and that brings up, another saying that we grew up with was the straw that broke the camel's back. If you start letting those offenses build and build and build, it will finally, you'll just blow up and it'll be at nothing. That's the thing. The straw that breaks the camel's back is usually a
little minor thing.
Nothing. It's something you would never even notice. But because the offense is already growing and growing and growing, and you've been watering it with more offense, all of a sudden it blooms one day.
Yeah.
And what squirts out of your toothpaste is not pretty.
Right. Yeah. And you've been there, done that. We've all done it. So, but there that comes back to when you do it, forgive yourself for doing it.
Yes.
And if you need to make reparation to somebody, go do it in a timely manner.
And if it's something that would hurt them more to know about, don't do it. Just don't take care of it. You and God, forgive yourself for being party to that, and forgive, the person that you were party with, and go on. Because
or if it's something that you've really done, fess up, take the heat. Take the heat for it.
Yeah.
Take the heat for it, because you did it.
Right.
Fess up.
Right. But you don't want to heat
go on
someone else, like in the case of my friend's husband. Yeah.
Don't heap the heat on someone else. Exactly.
Right. Because that did nothing but harm him and harm his memory of her.
Yeah.
And stuff. So anyway, we're at the end of our time. And so we just want to thank you once again for coming each week, and for checking out the Thoughtful Thursdays and the workshop. Don't forget, we've got the Aging Experts, and that's where you hear more about ways to be younger, workshops, products, body reboot. We post all of that over there on the Aging Experts. So please go like that page. And we thank you. If you have not liked Mavens of Motivation, please like this page. There's something that happens when you get 200 likes. I don't remember what it is. I have that on my Life by Design, but that was a while ago, so I don't remember what it is, but it's like a big deal when you hit that. So please share with your friends, tell them about our shows, and enjoy our Thursday interviews that we do, because those are very thought-provoking, and it's not just the two of us, it's people that we think are interesting and we get to interview.
And just to hear some stories of people that have gone through some stuff.
Yes. And you never know what story might perk something in you that you can improve your life with. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Have a great week.